So let's dive a little bit deeper into the actual vulnerability for Pulse. So if an actor does leverage this, whether they're using the open source tool or one they purchased on the dark web, they're able to actually bypass two-factor authentication. So that alone is not enough to prevent that initial access. You have to patch to mitigate the vulnerability and also implement two-factor authentication. One of the primary ways you're able to get in is through session hijacking. This vulnerability allows them to take over an active user session without knowing the username, the password, and even if 2FA is enabled, without even having to have access to that token. They take over that session and they have all the same rights, privileges, and access that that user account has, and it's unbeknown to that user that that's occurred. You can see on the right there in the second example that there is a way you can detect if that's actually occurred within your logs. You essentially want to look for where an IP address has changed from one IP to another. It's not 100% of the time going to be indicative of that exploit being leveraged, but there's a good chance if you take a look and say, hey, my user was in San Francisco, and then all of a sudden 30 seconds later, they're in Russia or China or India. So that's definitely something you'd want to investigate or dive deeper. Additionally, that vulnerability allows unauthenticated web requests directly to the Pulse Secure VPN console. So they can go in, they can change your configuration settings, they can tell your system to automatically run some tool or utility upon logging in. So the next time your user VPN's in, it kicks off a new tool or utility that maybe you don't want run. Could be ransomware, could be a reverse shell or some other tool that gets the actor access into your network. And lastly, once they have that access, they are able to scrape plain text passwords, as well as extract the user credential database with a Pulse Secure VPN. That's the data.mdd file.